We're here. Casino Guitars. Baxter has been in a time machine. We've de-aged him 20 years.
It's not looking good.
It's Shawn. You guys have heard us talk about Shawn. Usually, you know, not always in the most flattering light because we often make fun of Shawn because he's young and it's easy. It's what we like to do.
Like most good things, it's easy and fun. There you go.
Easy and fun.
Hello, YouTube world, whatever people are expecting me to say right now, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Matter.
I'm happy to be here.
So we needed Shawn today because we're talking about something where we needed a young person's perspective. Shawn knows about these things. We're going to talk about audio interfaces.
That's right. I do a little bit of recording. We recorded some of your songs this past year. It's been a fun
if
year.
you've heard any of the really bad stuff that I've put out, that was Shawn, but he's gotten better. Most things don't sound that horrible, and it's partly me, but no. But yeah, so Shawn and I record a lot. He knows about that stuff. He's a great engineer. He's a pretty darn good producer. You've recorded a lot of bands right here in the back where we do videos, right?
Yeah, exactly. In the same exact room. It's been a lot of fun. I get to use all of Baxter's crazy amps without him knowing, but now he does know, so it's fine.
Just putting it out there. So that's cool. If I think a lot of people watching probably like me, like when I try to record things, I'm horrible at it, and I don't even like to think about it half the time. So I just want to play my guitar and make it, capture it in a decent way. That's even the hardest part for me when I make videos and stuff for my Instagram or my own channel is how to get decent sounds. So if people are like that, what are the best audio interfaces?
I mean, there's a lot, right? So I started out on the Scarlett 2i2, so it's got like 2 inputs and everything into it. So
Scarlett is Focusrite?
Yes.
And they are scarlet colored.
That's right. So they're all like red and they look really cool. It's like the most popular one. I feel like a lot of people have seen, But like you're saying, it's hard to be the guy playing the guitar and running this crazy machine to the side. But the Scarlett interface made it really simple starting out. So whenever I did that, not an issue at all. It was super quick. And yeah, I mean, the only bump up from there on your stuff was whenever I went to the bigger version of that.
Bigger Scarlett
thing.
That's right.
But what really pushed me into like the next level
before you jump to the next level, question. When you bumped up on the nicer Scarlett, right? Is there anything different about that? Like people are looking for one and they're like, okay, I'm gonna buy this thing because it's just me and I only have 2 inputs versus the bigger one. Like does something change there, or are they exactly the same except for how much you can do live?
It absolutely does change. Big factor of that one, and I didn't even think about it, kind of glossed by it, is that you have to run a lot of that interface on your computer. So it has like its own little console that you can control where the inputs go, where the outputs go, how they're all routed, what they're doing exactly, if they're different headphone mixes. That part was confusing at first, but once I got my hands on it, it really streamlined a lot of things. It was just a bit of a learning curve. So that's a big thing. Whenever you bump up to a bigger interface, usually it means there's a lot more of a control aspect to it rather than just plug it in, cut it on, hit record, and turn up the gain.
But it's routing, right? So it's your ins and outs, what's going where. What about sound quality, though?
Sound quality?
Like in the driver? There's these things called drivers. Tell me about drivers. What the heck are drivers?
So drivers...
I read it on the box. I don't necessarily know what it means.
Your drivers and stuff like that, from my knowledge with it, is basically what you're plugging into, right? So back in the day, whenever they were doing all analog recording, you'd plug in and you would have like a dedicated channel that was driven by a tube. It was burning up, right? It was warm. And that's where you get a lot of that like vintage, kind of lingo where they talk about the warmth of what you're using. There's putting iron in it and stuff like that. All these crazy words that old people make up.
Now it's just a plug-in.
That's right.
It used to be a channel strip. But it looks the same. It's just on your computer screen. It's weird.
But yeah, so you're absolutely right.
Okay.
As you bump up, a lot of them come with better inputs. So the Focusrite stuff, if you don't know, is also kind of partly due to it was designed by like Rupert Neve. And he's like the king of kings whenever it comes to interface stuff.
People say like, I have a Neve channel strip on on this board.
Exactly.
It'll just be one thing in there. Okay, so that's cool. So just pay attention when you're buying that stuff. So if they were gonna starting out, they did the Scarlett stuff, then they're bumping up.
Yes.
What's
this is what changed the game for me, would be the Universal Audio Apollo stuff. We started carrying it here in the shop, and it gave me a great opportunity to hop into the 8XP, and that thing is crazy. Now, before I get into like how crazy that is and all the details on it, what I will say is that starting out, it may be way easier to get into.
That's a big
the
investment,
Apollo 20.
right?
Yeah, like this is like $1,000. The 8XP is like $4,000. So it's a bit crazier in price, but
and I mean there are interfaces for like $100. You know,
That's
so
right,
there's
yeah.
a huge spectrum there. We're covering the tiniest little
that's right. And
chunk of it. You know,
actually, Universal Audio just came out with a budget version of their stuff. It's called the Volt series. I think.
That's cool.
I was just reading our email on it the other day, but it looks awesome. I mean, it's very affordable. I think everything is under the $500 price point. And
so it might be a good place to start then. Now.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I would say start with the UA stuff just because it's like legendary sound equipment. It sounds great.
Now I know a lot of the cheaper ones when I buy because I bought cheap ones because I'm a poor guitar player. But they usually come with at least like a trial version of like DAW like software.
Yes.
Is that true on the like UA stuff, or they just assume like you've got Logic or you got Pro Tools or you got whatever?
Even better with the UA stuff, you get their whole platform. You get their whole DAW, which is called Luna, and Luna and Logic. To me, just from working with them, there's a lot of similarities. The only difference is I feel like the UA stuff runs into Luna so much smoother, right? Because whenever you're using that, we talked about routing earlier with that focus, right? And that was a little bit hard to use, because it's kind of like a channel strip, but not really, because it's more of just controlling where things are going, right?
I gotcha.
With the Universal Audio stuff, though, you get an absolute full picture like console. Like it's legit like a console setup, and you can set up the routing to go into preamps inside of the Universal Audio interface.
Oh.
So it's not running on your computer. On some of the more expensive ones, they have multiple layers of that, so it's really easy to use, right?
I remember the first night we used your new
I know,
fancy
yeah.
one. You're like, I don't know what's happening. I'm so pissed, You're like, we're just gonna knock this out. And I was like, I don't know. But now that you figured that out,
exactly,
it's fairly streamlined.
It was a little tricky at first with using that console setup, but once you get it down, it's just like the other thing. Once I got it down, boom, I was like off to the races running.
It's just like when I first figured out my Roland 8-track, that burns CDs. It was amazing. It took me a while.
Quality, same
It was
thing.
amazing. I used to play drums on the little round buttons with my fingers. And I remember one time I borrowed an electric drum kit in the house, and I was like going to record all this stuff. And then I realized I didn't have drumsticks, so I used wooden spoons. But it doesn't matter because of those stupid, horrible drum packs. They don't sound good anyway. Whatever.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's come a long ways.
In like
Interfaces.
20 years, those will come back into style, just like tape machines have.
Should have kept mine.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the model. It was like the something 700, blah, 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 blah.
I played with one before. They're fun.
But it was awesome because you get to like the end and you bounce them all to the last 2 stereo tracks.
That's
and you
right.
record 6 more tracks. I don't remember. Mine might have been 8, but it might have been 16. I don't remember.
What
It
was
was the
it?
nice one though.
Yeah. You can just print out the CD too.
Yeah,
I
you just
think
had the
that's
CD
kinda cool.
thing, the drawer. It was just like, bam, there it is. You
It's
could do the
definitely
data,
not me.
and then I had this little folder of like things I'd recorded as if it would ever matter. I don't know what in God's name you would do.
You
that
mean
now.
your number
But,
one hit Avalon?
Right,
Is that what you're
right.
talking about?
I probably do have a version on there, but anyways.
Heck yeah. That's super cool. So, yeah, I mean, to wrap up audio interfaces, if I could go back and start over from scratch, knowing that Universal Audio just dropped these new affordable lines, I would honestly probably start with one of those because from what I've seen, I've been able to get my hands on
Volt.
one. Yes.
We'll have them when they come out, so maybe we
Yeah.
will play with them.
Yep.
And then we'll do another video and see how
Exactly.
they compare to like an Apollo Twin or something like that.
Because, I mean, that thing is
Like the
like
Big
crazy.
Daddy.
It's got
That's
like
what
a
I
big
need
knob
next.
on it. We love big knobs here.
Shawn loves big knobs. Big knobs for the win. He's always talking about knobs. It's weird.
I am.
Just loves them.
We're all just a bunch of
Strange.
knob heads here.
When you get him and Baxter together and they start talking about knobs, that's usually when I'm like, all right, bros, it's time for me to head home for the day.
Give them a twist.
But anyways, it's family channel. Anyways, so there you go. What do you guys think about interfaces? Does it matter? Do you use them? Are you like me? They're kind of intimidating sometimes because we're old. And
You
we
can
don't know
figure
about
it out.
computers.
I believe
you probably can. If I can figure it out,
If
you
nobody
can.
else does, I believe.
All right. There you go. Anything else? Any last things? Nope. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know if you think Shawn is cool or if you hate him. That's fine. If you hate him, you can say it.
If you hate me, Send me away.
No, don't do that. He's very sensitive.
Thank you.
Don't do it. All right, hit like and subscribe if you have not already. Click that bell so you don't miss things in the future. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.